Toastmaster, Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters, and very welcome future Toastmasters. There's something I hear quite a bit from people of all walks of life and either gender, and that is, what did we do for all these, iPhones and iPads? And this really frustrates me because there was a very clear answer, which we're going to work to if we just look back through history. And if we start at the very, very start in time, taking three collective ages together, the Stone Age, the Copper and Bronze Age, and the Iron Age, all those ages together have one very simple, basic technological basis. It was to build for agriculture, for food, and weapons for defense and hunting. That was it, served no other purpose. Technology is built to help it, to help humans. So as it went on, it goes through history, and we look at the ancient civilizations, such as the ancient Egyptians. Now, we can all see the pyramids when we go to Egypt. Absolutely fascinating testament to man's willingness to build something. But what you mightn't be aware of when they built these things is that they also had levers built and ramps to aid this. I mean, it wasn't just the one thing, it was always built. They saw a problem when they were constructing these pyramids, so they put ramps in. We might have thought they were a newer invention. But it moved on through time. And when you look at medieval times, for example, this is the only time in history where technology actually slowed down. And the reason for that is said to be religious beliefs, that the church were getting involved and said, look, we don't really agree with things. People were saying the world was round and we knew that wasn't true. So people were kind of disputing it. And that kind of slowed down. But very quickly thereafter came the Renaissance period. And that gave us, if we look at Florence, Brunelleschi's dome, excuse my Italian pronunciation there, but that's one of the most beautiful things you can see in the world. I've yet to see it myself. But when that was built, it started a huge trigger in the Renaissance period. Families like the Medicis, who were very wealthy and powerful, were patrons of science and art. So technology and science started boosting and kept developing. At this time, printing presses were developed, which allowed written word to travel around the world. So the first book that was done was the Bible, and it was very, very slow, but it was still a step forward. And this, of course, made reading a more accessible thing. Still something that literacy needs to work on to this day. But when we look at it then, the next kind of age is the age of exploration. This is when everyone wants to find a new world. Spain and Portugal in particular as countries were trying to find new ways to control the spice trade. So they sailed west. What it triggered, though, was shipbuilding. Ships were not as sophisticated or even as elegant, if you like, a build as what they were. The first and simple thing that had to be done in Columbus's ships is, if you imagine my hand as the bottom of the ship, where the ship is kind of smooth and even the whole way around. Prior to this, planks were going like that, and so it was actually dragging in the water. So apart from a visual, not looking great, this was actually causing resistance when sailing. So it was inefficient shipbuilding. All the time there was always this need for technology. Then we move on to the likes of the Industrial Revolution, which gave us the steam engine. Now, the steam engine did a lot for the Industrial Revolution, as I said, and in terms of manufacturing. But then again, in the 19th century, it had a huge implementation because the steam engine was adaptable. So railways and steamboats became huge. Same thing, different application, but again, it was the need of moving things forward. Now, for the 20th century, we have a very interesting list here, which is done up by an American body. Yeah, there we go. So the US National Academy of Engineering have said these were the 10 biggest things of the 20th century. So the first was electrification. Now, in other words, bring electricity to the masses. Well, I don't think I need to prove that. How many spotlights are in this room? The automobile, can I have a show of hands of how many people have the use of a car? Okay, so point made. The airplane, most of us have been on a flight, Doreen has just mentioned, even if it was only 8 minutes. Water supply and distribution. Well, you all look hydrated and there's no smell of BO, so I'm guessing that one worked. Electronics. Again, this doesn't mean electricity again, it's more the actual circuit boards and things like that, which later built into radio and TV and computers, which are all tied in together. Mechanized agriculture. This is the only one on the list I can't say I've first-hand experience with, but I do, like all of you, feel the benefit of it, as cereals and beer start with wheat and barley, and they had to be used by mechanized agriculture. Then we have the likes of the telephone and the air conditioning and refrigeration. Refrigeration will actually be one of the things that helps us solve world hunger in time to come. And another really simple 20th century advent was in your kitchens at home. You probably all have jug electric kettles. This was a big change from the conventional kettle on two simple bases. The first was that the base of the original kettles was very, very wide, which meant it was slow to heat. It was inefficient and it took a long time. The electric kettles being narrower, the heat rose quicker and the kettle boiled faster. Secondly, the handle is now on the side as opposed to on the top. Big difference there, you don't burn your hands when you do that, and get a nice little burn up there. So the very, very simple things. Now, and for the 21st century, the only real change we've had so far that I think is noteworthy is that broadband is commonplace. But we've nearly 90 years to go, so I'm hoping for something better along the way with that. But I think when you look back at all those things, it's very easy to say, well, yeah, technology has evolved, but it's evolved at a rate at which we have commanded it to evolve. So when people ask this question, it's a bit outrageous. If I give a couple of examples where I say technology is not all perfect, but technologies that maybe failed, for example. VHS versus the Betamax. VHS won, Betamax died. Then DVD came along, Blu-ray came along, and now it's even just streaming. Blu-ray hasn't even beaten DVD, and it's already its replacement is there. There's also the application of technology. And what I mean is, well, we all know what a mobile phone is used for. No smart things, make calls. But it's also the circumstance that can be applied to. Every single person on the plane on the 9/11 attacks was given the privilege, and I use the word loosely, but to phone their loved ones and say goodbye to them. That's the application of technology. That was a horrific incident, as we all know, but people did have the opportunity to say goodbye to their loved ones. Without technology, they wouldn't have that. So I said there was a very simple answer to this. What do we say when someone says, what do we need all these things for, blah, 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 blah. Someone says to you, what did we do before mobile phones? The answer really simply is, we thought, wouldn't it be great if I could call that person while they're on the way, or whatever the technology is there for, and that is why I think we can shut everyone up with that. Thank you very much.